Good morning. Hello there. How's it going? And hi. And bienvenidos. Konnichiwa. Ciao. And hello there. What is going on, everybody? Just basically wanted to do kind of a live hangout. Haven't done one recently, and today I had the day off of work, and the kids are in school, and today is also my anniversary. So happy anniversary to my lovely wife, Sarah. 12 years. And instead of spending today with her, I am on my computer live streaming with you guys, because you guys are... No, I'm just kidding. We went out to breakfast this morning, and also, actually, we kind of did our anniversary dinner last night and kind of had a good time. Had some fondue, which is always fun. And yeah, she is pretty epic. She is a pretty cool wife. She lets me spend all this time gaming and creating silly gaming content for you guys. She's very, very cool. But yeah, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. And one of those things is Armada based. Another is channel based. And let's see, we have some... Well, we will talk a little bit of Legion too, and some X-Wing. We can talk about a lot of those things. Also, Marvel Crisis Protocol. That's coming very soon, and that's really exciting. I mean, Clone Wars is coming out this week for Legion, so man, this is really fun. This is really fun. I feel like these live streams are almost like a solo version of a podcast with user interaction, right? Because they're just basically me talking to you guys, hanging out in the comments. You guys all get to be a part of it. I almost wish there was a way I could take callers and have a little voice, like you guys could webcam in, and we could pop that up, and you could be like, hey, I just wanted to blah 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 ask you what do you think of giant space nuggets, and I could be like, well, space nuggets are good with barbecue sauce, and we could talk about all of those things. I'm silly, but I don't know, maybe there's a way I can kind of incorporate something like that. But yeah, so one interesting thing. Let me start off with channel related news. I had a scavenger hunt going. We have a winner. So the scavenger hunt was specifically for finding the first video in which I said I'm a Nulny kind of guy. And I knew this one was going to be a hard one. But yes, we have a winner. Let's see. And that was from John Freeman, who emailed me, was the first person to email me with that. So congratulations, John. And John likes Armada, so I've got your promos ready to go out, along with your Crabbok lightsaber nunchuck card as well. But actually, instead of just giving you one promo, I'm going to give you 3. So you're going to get a little bonus in there. But you'll have to see when they show up. But yes. So a little extra bonus there for the first scavenger hunt. Not everybody's going to get 3, but I will do more scavenger hunts, and I figured that's kind of a way for more people to have a chance of winning something that's it's less random and more something that you have control over. Because if you're the first person to find something, then you get it. Then that's kind of how that works. So moving on to game related stuff. I have some speculation, and it's based on some cool facts. So we're going to talk Armada Wave 8, and this is kind of exciting because they really haven't done anything on Armada yet. We don't have our release articles. We haven't had any news for Armada in a little while. Now, granted, we had Rebellion in the Rim come out last month, so it's out. Shoot, I picked up a second copy of that too. I haven't played a lot of Armada lately, and so Armada's kind of been in a little bit of a lull. Not a big lull, a minor lull. We did just have a whole bunch of new upgrades come out. But the SSD came out, it was kind of boring because it was a one-sided expansion. And so while it was really, really cool, it didn't really do anything for Rebel players. And so Rebellion in the Rim was really the big expansion. That had a lot. But outside of that, we haven't had the news of anything new because we know that we've got another wave coming out. They said Q4, but so many things have been delayed. A lot of you are probably worrying. So here's where I get to the fact-based speculation is what I'll call it. In the last live stream, I had asked a little bit about what were they going to, they should also do a live stream for Armada. And whoever's running it, whether it was FFG proper or FFG marketing, they said, oh, well, hey, for that, make sure you stay tuned for our list of live streams in November. So in other words, next month they're doing an Armada live stream, which will almost certainly be a Wave 8 preview live stream. So that's pretty cool. And usually when they do that, that means it's not too far off, which tells me Wave 8 is probably pretty close to being to having articles come out, which means I think we'll get it either late November or early December. I'm putting it out right now. I think Wave 8 is on track for Q4. I think we will still have it, and I think we're only probably 2 or 3 weeks away from probably 3 weeks away from possibly having an Armada live stream, in which case they will be demonstrating probably a lot of new things. I don't know how many new upgrade cards they'll show us, but there'll probably be some. And I think they'll probably also go over Salvo. I think we're going to get the full tutorial and demonstration of exactly how Salvo works in this Armada live stream next week. Not next week, next month. But they did hint basically that November would have an Armada live stream. So that's a good thing. Now, with these live streams, a lot of times they're putting those out before the actual articles come out. And since we'll probably have 2 articles for Wave 8, one for the Starhawk and one for the Onager, that means we're probably usually the release is like a week or 2 after the last article. So depending on when they do it in November, let's say they do it the first week of November, then you're looking at the second week an article, third week another article, and fourth week release. So it's possible late November, but I think more likely early December is probably our best case, with maybe mid-December being, mid to late December being the worst case for them to. I don't think it's going to be any kind of Armada 2.0. At best, I think we might get some kind of FAQ. I've been hearing rumors that there's an FAQ coming, and if that is the case, they may also talk about that in the live stream. But again, it's just rumor, and I'm only putting a medium amount of stock in that. An FAQ sounds fine. There are certain things I suspect could be FAQ'd, but Armada's still in a really good place right now, and I don't think there's a huge need for a lot of FAQs. So, Armada, like somebody in the comments is saying, Armada isn't broken right now, and that's a good thing. It's just the Rebels could use another ship, and I would love to see more huge ships. And so, that's kind of what's going on right now. All right, so moving on. So that's pretty good news for you Armada players out there. That will probably have some news in a couple of weeks, and that's exciting. So let's move on to X-Wing. I think X-Wing is getting very, very close. We've had a whole bunch of articles now. We still don't have a firm release date on Epic and huge ships, but that's also Q4. Based on the frequency of articles, I say we're probably going to have that early November is my guess for X-Wing Epic, which is really exciting too. Very exciting. So, and if you followed my channel for a while, most January or February timeframes, whenever we would have the Super Bowl for American football, we would also, during the morning of the day of the Super Bowl, we would always get together and do a big epic X-Wing game. And so I've had a lot of big epic scenarios for X-Wing. And I think the epic multiplayer is going to provide a perfect example to do something like that. So I'm going to try and see if we can set something like that up, which will be really fun. All right. So, outside of, epic launching, that's, I think, the biggest thing for X-Wing. We haven't seen anything about a Wave 6 yet, right? Wait, what? Because wave 5 is the wave on deck right now, and wave 6. Am I backwards? I'm getting my wave numbers mixed up. Yeah, I don't think we've seen a wave 6 article yet. Because wave 3 was the Clone Wars. Then wave 4 was wave 4 was N1. Wave 5 was Y-wing. Wave 6 is with nothing for Clone Wars. Wave 6 is the Resistance wave with the Fireball and the Red Interceptor. So maybe wave 7 is what we're waiting for. I'm getting discombobulated there. But yes, what is your favorite football team? It would be the UCF Knights. I'm more of a college football fan than a professional football fan. But I live in Orlando, Florida, and our hometown team is the University of Central Florida. So charge on, go Knights. Well, they had a bye this week, so I didn't get any football this week for me. All right. That is a good time for us to jump into Legion. So out of everybody watching, have you guys seen my Legion video from yesterday for the Naboo terrain? I'm curious if you see that. Oh, what was the scavenger hunt video? Yes, that's a good question. So the scavenger hunt video was an early Armada video that I did. It was not a painting video. So the hint in there was that I'm a Nuln-y kind of guy, and that it was Nuln oil is the wash that Citadel makes for paints. And so a lot of people were thinking that it was a painting video. And had nobody found it, I would have given a clue that it was not a painting video. But it was my Armada video saying, should you buy a second core set? And because in that video, I was talking about, and this was an early video for me. It was from years and years ago. So I still do, but I rambled and I would go all over the place. And so I pulled out the second core set because at the time, when the Armada core set was brand new, there were a lot of complaints over the quality of the paint job on like the Nebulon B, and that there was no wash on the end of it. And so I was talking about the benefits of buying a second core set for Armada, or answering the question, do you need to? And by the way, that answer was no, one core set's enough. But I had taken the second Nebulon B and I had painted it, because at the time also, the core set was the only thing available for Armada, and I wanted to play bigger games and I wanted more ships. So that's why I bought the second core set. But yeah, so I had put a wash on my, second Nebulon, and I was comparing the two and saying, look at and I said I just used Nuln oil, and there was some line about like how most people will thin out their wash, but I just used straight 100% Nuln oil because I'm a Nuln-y kind of guy, and it was a dumb thing to say. It was silly because I just didn't have anything else to say, and it was I figured that would be a hard one to find. I will do more scavenger hunts though. I think that's a fun. Let me know too if you guys like the idea of scavenger hunts. I am not answering your fish question. You ask that every time. No favorite fish questions. It's so silly. You kind of make me laugh when you do that though. All right. But yes, and so I announced the winner was, and I've been in emails, but gosh, what was the name of our winner? That was John Freeman found that and emailed me, and so that one is done. The scavenger hunt is complete, but I'll start another one. I have to come up with a good one though. The first video in which I say hello there, I was thinking about that one. I think that one might be a little too easy, but I found that one. Yeah. So we'll do a one, not for a reward right now because we're giving everybody. But yeah, whoever finds the first video in which I say hello there, I'll give you a shout out. But you'll have to email me at mailcrabbok@gmail.com. So we'll do that one right now. If I'm sending promos out, I got to make it a little more tricky. And also there's a problem with the hello there one, and I'll tell you. I feel like that would hurt my channel, and what I mean by that is there's an algorithm with YouTube, And so the algorithm basically is, if somebody watches, the longer somebody watches one of my videos, the more it kind of raises my video. Like I'm more likely to have my videos shown to other people who are non-subscribers if the higher average watch length. So if somebody watches my video for only a few seconds to see the first thing that I say, like if like 100 people start going through clicking on all of my videos and I'm watching them for only like 4 or 5 seconds, that's actually going to bring my channel way down. So that's why I kind of didn't want to do the whole hello there thing, because all you have to do is watch the first few seconds to see if I say hello there or not. And that's going to make YouTube think that all my videos are clickbait, because people think they're going to see one, because that's what you do for something that's clickbait, right? You'll watch a video, and if it's not immediately what you thought, you switch something out. Well, you'll have the same amount of time watching a video. So if you do that, I just ask that you kind of leave it on for a little bit, so you don't hurt me too much, because then, yeah. How am I doing in the Invader League? I'm not in the Invader League. I have a harder time with Tabletop Simulator and stuff like that. Not that I have a harder time. I prefer to play in Legion in any of my tabletop games in person, if possible. So I lean more towards the physical games. So yeah, so back to Legion. Yeah, I had the Naboo table going. Super happy with that. I'm having a couple more pieces printed also. So like the one arch that was in there. And by the way, if you haven't seen it already, I suggest you check it out. Is there an upcoming Legion tournament? And I missed a bunch of questions, by the way, so I apologize for that. I'm going to jump back in. But yeah, there's a lot of chat, and I have a harder time getting to everything, especially when there's some things I already wanted to talk about. So I will try to answer as much as I can. Of course, a disclaimer: any super chats are going to get priority with that too. So yeah, if you haven't seen the Naboo terrain video, check it out. I'm really proud of how that turned out, and I'm gonna try and get some battle reports set up on it. And it's not all gonna be Clone Wars, because we have Clone Wars coming out this week. Clone Wars is coming out soon, and that's gonna be awesome. So the Clone Wars core set finally has a street date of this Friday, and as cool as that is, we're also getting the card pack. So a lot of you who are on a budget can get a lot of extra upgrade cards really simply. I will be doing an unboxing of that. I think the only thing that's coming out Friday that I haven't done an unboxing of already, in addition to the card pack, is the Phase 1 Clone Troopers. So I'll be getting a copy of that. I've seen a couple of people ask about dewbacks. So here's what I know about dewbacks. For those of us who bought a dewback at Gen Con, we like myself, we had the wrong base in there. They have shipped out bases, replacement bases. So I got that a couple of weeks ago. Now, what they had to do is they had to open up every single dewback for the world, or at least for North America. They may have different places doing it in different parts of the world. Now, FFG doesn't have this huge, humongous team, especially not for Legion, so there's only so many people, and all those people had a job to do already. And so I believe is they had to basically open them all up, put the replacement base in there. And in addition to that, they had to get this order of replacement bases and then put those in, in little Ziploc baggies and then throw them in the thing. They may have even had to pull the big base out because, to be fair, putting an extra base in there for like 100,000 units is going to drastically change the weight. And there's shipping things to be concerned. So they may have had to actually pull out bases. So, imagine you're going to have to cut open a box, open it up, pull out the base, put the replacement base in, close the box, reseal it in some type of, press or something like that. And that's like maybe 10 seconds or 20 seconds, depending on how long it takes you to reseal. But somebody has to do that times like 100,000 or however many dewbacks it is. So it takes a long time. And so, they haven't put out any type of release date for dewbacks. I think they're just trying to get them out as soon as possible. I think ideally though, they want them all to show up on the same day. So even though maybe 90% of them are done, maybe, They're probably not going to go until they're all ready. They're not going to just let them trickle out because it's unfair, especially when tournaments are concerned, for some people to have dewbacks and other people not to have dewbacks. I've used dewback in a battle report. I've only used him in one battle report, and he got like annihilated really, really quickly. I was actually thinking, here's a build I was thinking about running for Rebels. Now, I don't play Rebels as much, but I was thinking about running a generic Rebel officer, 3 generic Rebel troopers with no upgrades, so just 4-person squads, triple Tauntaun, and double Snowspeeder, and give each Snowspeeder the ground buzzer. That's exactly 800 points. And I've got triple dewback, which they don't need any upgrades to be good. They're already really good. And then, I mean, they are good with some upgrades, but they don't have to have upgrades. So triple dewback and double Snowspeeder with ground buzzer. With the points reduction, it fits in there perfectly. And it's still 10 activations, which is pretty insane. It's pretty insane. But like I feel like that might, while it'd be potentially a strong list, it might be kind of boring too. So I was thinking of doing something like that. But yes, so if you just joined, we're talking about a lot of things. We were talking a little bit about primarily, it's my anniversary, so I had the day off of work today. I figured I'd spend a little bit of time. We just got back from having breakfast with my wife, my lovely wife of now 12 years. Although we've been together longer than that, but that's 12 years is pretty good. We've been married for a long time. I think you pass 10 years and then you can just keep going. So, if you can manage not to kill each other after 10 years, you're doing pretty good. But other than that, we're just talking about some different games. It looks like I think Armada's still on schedule with Wave 8 release, because there's supposed to be an Armada live stream in November, which will most likely talk about the new ships. So that's what either that or the potential. There's rumors of an FAQ coming for Armada. But Legion news. So another thing about Legion, and I was also reminding people check out the Naboo terrain video I posted yesterday. I really, really like that one. And we also did have a winner for the scavenger hunt. So somebody did find the Nuln Oil, and that was in my "Do you need a second core set for Armada" video. So that one has been found already. But Legion. So a lot of people are thinking, hey, you know what? We're in a little bit of a drought for Legion right now. And so one of the things about that is I feel like there's news that would have come out already. So we had a leak from Poland a while back from a distributor site where places can order Legion products for two expansions. And just for purposes of maintaining secrecy, I think a lot of people already know what they were. I'm not going to talk about them right now. But basically, it was a Rebel and an Imperial Commander expansion. And they seemed like they were pretty cool. If they were, if the leak was legit. And most people have said, yeah, it's the same person that leaked the Luke and Vader, and those are... basically, we haven't gotten an article, because when the Luke and Vader were leaked from this distributor website, we saw articles for them like almost the next day, so they were basically confirmed right away. But in this case of this last week, it's been a couple of weeks now, and we haven't seen an article for those, and we haven't seen any new announcement articles. And while that may seem a little strange, I think there's a reason for that. I think a lot of the delays with Legion, the dewback delay, and also the Clone Wars core set and launch wave delay, I think those delays have had a domino effect. And I think they're pushing a lot of things back. I think they're pushing a lot of things back until they can kind of get everything situated. And I think come here very shortly, once the Clone Wars releases, and once we start getting releases back into the queue of shipping and distribution and arrival at FLGSs, I think then we're going to start seeing a flow of new information and new releases and new announcements, because there's still a lot of product for Legion that was supposed to have been out already that isn't out yet. Dewbacks still aren't out yet. Clone Wars core set is out this Friday. The B1 battle droids and Phase 1 clone troopers should be out this Friday. Upgrade card pack should be out this Friday. But then beyond that, we still don't have the droidicas or the bark speeder pack. I have done a Droidekas unboxing already at Gen Con. I haven't done a Bark Speeder, and I'll probably pick up one of those just for the alternate sculpt so you guys can see it and for the purposes of being complete. But yeah, so I think once that stuff is out, then then they can keep the flow of product kind of flowing at a normal rate, and then it will be appropriate to start announcing more stuff. Because at a certain point, you don't want to have like 4 waves of product in the queue and not released, right? Like there's a certain amount of stuff you want to have like at every stage of development. And it would look really bad, I think, if you had, 12 products announced and nothing shipping right now. So, like X-Wing had, at once upon a time, had kind of fallen into that when they were trying to push too much out too fast. And I remember one point there was like 2 whole waves in the pipeline, plus like 3 or 4 standalone releases that were like sub-wave things. They was like they had wave 4 and wave 5 both in development at the same time, and then all the huge ships, and then also like a Rebel Aces or Imperial Aces pack, and then I think wave 6 was announced before wave 4 actually came out, so you had like 3 waves in the pipe, and at a certain point it becomes overwhelming. And the problem with something like that is that some people, I think from a consumer standpoint, you might be less likely to buy something if you see all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, well that's coming out too? Well, I don't want to buy that. I don't want to buy the Clone Wars now because there's a new Imperial thing coming out. I need to save my money for that, right? Like there's some kind of, I think that's like that mindset is maybe what drives their article and release time frames. So that's basically, like if I were running a company, I'd be like, no more announcements until we get, until we fix this link in the supply chain. Then we can start announcing more stuff. So basically a whole lot of words to just say I think we'll start seeing, possibly next week, but it might be delayed a little bit more because while we are going to get the Clone Wars core set this Friday, we're still not getting all the stuff that was originally supposed to go out with that launch wave, which also includes the Droidekas and Bark Speeders. So I think maybe next week we'll see something else announced. But if not, I think after the Droidekas and Bark Speeders hit stores, then we will. Also, the dewbacks are also really delayed right now. So once the dewbacks come out too, that's another thing. Because they also don't want, and somebody will be like, well, I haven't even bought my dewbacks yet. How am I going to afford Clone Wars? Like at a certain point, it just becomes, like Matt Barber says, market saturation. So I think that's what's going on with Legion right now. But there's still a lot of Legion stuff in the pipe. That's the other thing, is there's so much Legion stuff in the pipe right now. You've got R2D2 and C3PO coming for both the Republic and the Rebels, which is going to be interesting because it makes me think, are they also going to do some type of operative pack for the Separatists in the Empire? Not operative. Well, it was an operative, but like some kind of counterpart system. Like BT and 000 make perfect sense in that they're almost a direct, mirror image of R2 and 3PO. So that it would be my guess. I'm gonna get some coffee this morning too. But yes, Jango Fett. Jango Fett would be awesome. So there's a whole lot of more stuff they can do for those. But there's like Legion's just at a really good point right now, and when I get new terrain made, and that's one of the reasons I was directing you guys for the Naboo, because I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with that. And it was a very crowded table for that Naboo table, but the terrain just makes me so excited to play Legion. And it's one of the things, as much as I love Armada, every battlefield is pretty much the same with Armada, and so that's one of the things that makes Legion so cool, is that you're setting up on totally different battlefields all the time. And I am fortunate enough to live in Orlando, where there's a lot of game stores, and so like when I go up to play at a place like Sci-Fi City in Orlando, they have a lot of terrain that's already there. So if I go out to play at a store versus playing at home, I get to use all the terrain that they have there. It's just very, very cool. It makes me want to have my own store someday, and so I can then take, because at some point I'm gonna have too much terrain to keep in the house, and so I'd love to have like my own store, and then just invite people over to come play all the time, and then I can have all my terrain available for everybody to play with. That's kind of the dream. Maybe one day when I'm old and gray, I'll get there. Although I'm starting to get gray already. But yes, what is my next terrain board going to be? I have no idea. honestly, right now I have no idea. I'm running out. I'm pushing the limits on how much terrain I can hold and still have some organization to my garage. But we'll see. I don't have plans for a next terrain board just yet. I do not have plans for that yet. But my guess is I might go medieval. I might do some type of stone-based castle or something like that. That might be fun because I feel like medieval is also viable for Legion. I might go inner city, maybe Space City or something like that. They could be Corellia or Coruscant, but this way it would also work as like a Guardians of the Galaxy based space city for Marvel Crisis Protocol. So I would like for a lot of my terrain to work in multiple games. So I might do something like that also. So, but I'm not really thinking about that yet because I still have a couple more pieces for Naboo that I'm looking at adding. Like I'm having something printed a little larger. One of the artisan houses having a destroyed version of that one printed up too. And so no, I did not back Imperial Terrain's Kickstarter. I was actually I fell behind on that one. Yeah, sorry. Well, let me scroll up. I missed a whole bunch of questions, so let me try to catch a couple of them. I'm scrolling up here, so you have to give me a few minutes, but we'll get to some questions. And by the way, somebody said something about Battlefront 2. I have played Battlefront 2. I'll still go back to it once in a while. I updated Origin, and I know there's some people that are dead set against pre-ordering, but I signed up for the EA Premier thing because I got a discount on pre-ordering the next Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order, which I'm totally gonna play. I don't do a whole lot of video gaming, but I found Origin has all the old Westwood Command and Conquer and Red Alert games all in one bundle. And so I got that, and I have access to that. And boy, that is a blast from the past. Like playing Red Alert 2, Yuri's Revenge is just magnificent. Except for some reason it doesn't work beyond, like the highest resolution I can play it on is 800 by 600, which makes it really frustrating to try and play. But yeah, oh wow, a lot of kind words about the Naboo terrain. Thank you guys. I'm really proud of it, and I had a really good time working on it. And it's so reconfigurable. I can do a lot of different designs with it too. I can have a big city square, or I can have like city blocks or something like that, or I can have some fun with that one. And it's also exciting because I can flip the play mat over too. All right, so if you're just joining us now, we kind of talked a little bit about some Legion, some X-Wing, and some Armada. And now I'm looking at doing some questions. Let's see. Let's see. What is your favorite Star Wars character? Like your real favorite? Right now I'm gonna do one from Legends because that's a loaded question. That's a really good question. So Ryan is asking me, what is my favorite Star Wars character? I'm gonna say Sam Witwer, or specifically Starkiller. Or Galen Merrick from the Force Unleashed series. Now that's a Legends character. He's not recanonized. He's not in the new canon right now. I feel like I had a really good time playing the Force Unleashed games, and I didn't realize that was one of the first game for me that the actor who was like playing like the motion capture actor actually looked just like the video game character, and I didn't know it until like a year or two later, and I saw Sam Witwer in Battlestar Galactica. And I was like, this dude looks just like Starkiller. And I went and looked him up on IMDb, and I've come to find out it was the same character. And I had this shattering glass experience where I was like, oh my gosh, they made him look just like, I gotta go play this game again. And so, like, and I really liked The Force Unleashed. It was one of my favorite Star Wars games. Force Unleashed 2, I liked also, but it was so short, I wanted more. And they were working on a Force Unleashed 3 that never really got made, which is sad for me. But I also love how much Sam Witwer is a genuine fan of Star Wars. And so that, like that whole, like, following him and seeing other things that he had done, whether it was voicing the Emperor, voicing Darth Maul, and just being at like Star Wars Celebrations, doing interviews, and he's doing stuff with FFG now. And I just recently discovered he was GMing a Edge of the Empire, or no, Age of Rebellion RPG, a Fantasy Flight Star Wars RPG session with the whole cast and crew of Star Wars Rebels, or most of the cast and crew of Star Wars Rebels, on Freddie Prinze Jr.'s Geghead channel. And so I shared that on Twitter. Freddie Prinze Jr. and Steve Bloom, who's the voice of Zeb and Wolverine and all this stuff, both retweeted that too when I made a tweet of it. So that was pretty cool. But so yeah, so Sam Witwer is he's my favorite Star Wars actor, maybe. Although Mark Hamill's, no, I gotta say Mark Hamill's my favorite Star Wars actor. But as far as character, I'm gonna go with Starkiller for probably overall. But if I have to go for canon, it's probably Lando, but maybe not Lando. Maybe, I mean, like, there's so many. I have so many favorite characters for different reasons, you know. And we could even break it down by movie, but would, you know, like Han Solo, Harrison Ford kind of single-handedly made Episode 7 extremely memorable for me. I absolutely loved his performance in that. I really like Kylo Ren right now, especially not knowing what his future has in store. I love Kylo Ren. I love Ben Solo Kylo Ren. Like, I want to see him redeemed, and not knowing is really exciting. And this, you know, and that's one of the things, one of the reasons that I love movies that are going forward into an unknown future. And it's one of the reasons I was less crazy about Solo, a Star Wars story, because you kind of know where most of these characters end up. And so it took a little something out of it for me. I love to, like, kind of buckle my seatbelt and it's like, take me on a ride, movie. I want to see what the story that you're going to tell me. And it takes something out of that when I already know the destination. So, yeah, so there's that. But I've got a lot of favorite characters. I also really like Mace Windu, and like I like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi a lot, an awful lot. Yeah, but you know, there's just I got favorite characters from each trilogy. You know, and I think from the sequel trilogy, it's Kylo Ren. From the original trilogy, it's a toss up between Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, and Lando. Those are all really good ones. And then from the prequels, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, I really like Kit Fisto too. Qui-Gon, I really love Qui-Gon. They're all Jedi. I like all the Jedi more so than everybody else. Ahsoka, yeah. Like, and that's the problem, is I can sit here and just, as soon as I think it's this one person, I'll think of somebody else and be like, oh, but how about this person? So that's a really tough question. The answer is there's a lot of them. I don't want to just pick one. But if I had to just pick one, it'd be Starkiller. Or it'd be Sam Witwer. All right. What's your first capital ship you will fly for X-Wing Epic? That's a good question. That's a real good question. I guess part of it depends on what comes out when. Because if the conversion kit comes out first all by itself, then I have my choice of any of the 5 that are out. But if if something else comes out first, that's going to, impact everything. But I say, if I had the choice of anything right now, I don't know if we've seen all of the upgrades and stuff, so I'm really not sure. A little part of me wants to fly the Raider first. Kind of like the Raider. Yeah, so I might go with that. Let's see. I'm scrolling up. I'm missing a couple of. I'm probably missing a couple of questions. So I'm scrolling up and down. I'm probably skipping over a couple. Would a Venator be a frontal heavy ship or a broadside heavy, in your opinion? Well, I'm not the best person to ask for that, because I've seen some arguments either way. I always thought a Venator would be more of a broadside heavy ship from what I've seen in the in some of the battles. Like, a lot of the cannons are side facing, it seems to me. But then again, those side facing cannons can also angle forward because of the triangular design. You can go side or forward very easily. I feel like as far as game mechanics, if I were designing a medium ship for the Empire to use, and I'm just talking Imperial Venator, I would design it as a broadside heavy ship that has a decent frontal arc as well. So I would probably make it have maybe 2 blue and 2 red in the front, and then maybe 3 red and 1 blue on the side. So basically, I give the front arc maybe something different, less powerful but different. So maybe like you could still put the ion cannon upgrade on it. So if you wanted to do heavy ion emplacements, it might work a little better from the front arc. This way you could build it different ways too. You could have it be more of a blue dice delivery ship, taking advantage of the front arc, or more of a broadside ship, taking advantage of the side arc. And this is just off the cuff. Maybe ion isn't the best idea for a ship that doesn't have that many blue dice, but that's one idea. And that could work also if he doesn't have a turbo laser upgrade. Like that might be something you do for a ship that's pretty good on red dice. Is maybe you make a ship that's great with red dice that does not have the turbo laser upgrade. So now, that's how you come up with a ship that might seem a little bit too strong considering it's an older ship. Well, you remove the turbo laser upgrade from it, and now it becomes, well, it is a good ship if you want to fly it bare bones. But if you want to upgrade it, you'll have to fly maybe a Victory, which is newer, that does have the turbo laser upgrade, or an Imperial Star Destroyer that have multiple upgrades. So something like that. That's what I might do for a Venator for the Empire. Now, for the Republic, you can come up with different types of Venators. I think the Republic will possibly have to do a Venator that in the style of how the Imperials have the ISD, and they have multiple, like they have 4 different versions of ISD. You might have to do something like that for the Republic. I also think it's going to be the officers, like the Jedi, that are going to make the Republic's Venators better than the Imperials' Venators. And be able to make the Republic able to compete. I think you might even add a new upgrade slot for. No, I wouldn't add a Jedi upgrade slot, although that would be kind of cool. But maybe the Republic Venators will have 2 officer slots on each of their Venators. Or at least one type of, maybe a command Venator gets 2 officer slots or something like that. Would be kind of cool. And that would allow you to put multiple Jedi, especially those that have synergy with each other. Yeah. I find I have a lot of fun speculating on, expansions and upgrades for games that already exist. But if I sit down and try to design my own game from scratch, I have the hardest time. It's so much easier for me to just work with something that the foundation's already built and then come up with new things on top of that. All right. Let's see. Steve just started Legion. Looking forward to getting more into it. Awesome. Well, this is a good time with the Clone Wars. And even if you're not looking at starting with the Clone Wars, it's just... it's got a good place, and I probably need to do updated videos for what to buy first for Rebels and Empire, because my last version of that was, I think, right around the time that the Imperial agents were just announced, or Death Troopers hadn't come out yet, or something. So there's been a couple more expansions since I've done my last Imperial what to buy first video. So somebody asked about upcoming Legion tournaments. I think, they're having like the primes or the RPQs or something like that. I don't know if I'm going to a big Legion tournament or not, because I love playing Legion, but I don't know if I'd want to do like some of these tournaments are agonizing. And what I mean by that is you're playing like 4 or more games in a day, and you're on your feet. Like, I can't really sit down when I'm playing a game like this. Sometimes it's because the tables are bar stool style tables, but sometimes it's also because you're trying to get that bird's eye view constantly of, and I know, like, I played a game of Armada at Gen Con that was late in the day after teaching all day. And so it was like 7 p.m., and that's how you'll still be playing it that late. And it was we were exhausted because the person I was playing against, they played in a tournament also, so they were already tired, and I'm already tired. And like, so playing a game like that, like, you know, to the point of being exhausted, you're gonna make mistakes, and you know, like, and I feel like that might run the risk of not being fun anymore at that point. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and cranky, but maybe I'll just have to bring a stool. That's what I should do. Bring my own stool, and this way I can just sit upright. I may do that someday. I know Armada just announced their primes. There's one in St. Petersburg for Florida, and then there's one. There's also in Atlanta, and so that one. So the St. Petersburg is in December. The Atlanta one is in February. So I might do that. I don't know which are yet, but I know the Atlanta one usually has more of a turnout because it's more centrally located for a lot of people. And there's a big Armada crew in Atlanta as well. Happy Thanksgiving from Canada. Oh, well, thanks. So, will I be at Worlds for X-Wing? No, I will not. That's this weekend, isn't it? Or this week? Yeah, no, I'm not able to do that. I have not been as competitive in X-Wing, and I'm starting to get back more heavily into X-Wing. And I've seen I think a lot of people have pointed out that I was kind of off my game for X-Wing for a little bit, like around the time that 2.0 came out. I really struggled with that conversion of I made a lot of mistakes in my early 2.0 games, and while that's something you could probably expect from a lot of folks, for a YouTuber like me who talks about it, it was really bad for me. So I've been trying to get caught back up on X-Wing, but I don't think I'm ready to do well in a tournament at this point. But it would be fun. Like, I would love to go out there just to hang out and like talk to everybody, and you know, and do some coverage of it. But I don't think I would be able to do that. Like, if I had to pay out of pocket. Like, if somebody was to sponsor me to go there and cover it, then that would be a different case. Then I would love to do that. Let's see. Market. Looking for any more questions. You're looking for ways to speed up squadron play. So Mike is asking, hey, a friend and I play Armada, and we're thinking of ways to speed up squadron play. Your fix aces choose one defense token from the two options, and having an ace point cap of 1/3 of the squadron points. Well, I don't know if that's going to speed up squadron play, because if you run all aces, you'll have less squadrons. So by having an ace point cap, that's more encouraging you to run more generics, which increases the number of squadrons, and thus would slow the game down even further. Like, if somebody ran 16 TIE fighters, I think is the max amount of TIE fighters you can get, you're really going to slow things down. So I'm not sure how much that speeds up squadron play, but I mean, hey, you're trying things. Nothing wrong with trying stuff. Although removing some defense tokens for aces, that would maybe speed it up a little bit. I think one of the best things is to just run less squadrons as a whole. Like, if you and your friend are both trying to speed up squadron play, like some house rules, some things you can do is try not to be so precise. Like, when you're going to move, one of the things that really slows down squadron play is people trying to, like, all right, I need to move this squadron, but they need to be at distance 1 of Howl Runner, and also at distance and engagement range of all of your other squadrons, while also being within range of this other TIE fighter to get the swarm bonus, but also be out of range of your intel ship that has heavy. And you're so trying to, like, measure all of those things at the same time and going back and forth. Like, that's the stuff. So if you take that too seriously, like, saying take it too seriously sounds terrible. But basically, you have to, if you just approach the game from, you know, I'm not going to measure that much, you know, and then just take the chance and be willing to put down a squadron and be like, oh, I didn't make it, you know. I usually approach the squadron game from that mentality. And that's one of the things, granted, I take the squadron game very casually. I take my ship game a little more seriously, but I take my squadron play a lot more casually, and I try not to really measure that much. Like, I usually kind of give myself all right, look, I'll measure like this one thing, but I try not to triangulate. when I'm moving squadrons, I try not to measure for too long. Like I try to do like 5 seconds tops, and then just move. And then if I make it, I make it. And I've paid the price for that too. Like I have moved a squadron, and like, oh, they're not in range. Oh well, I guess I screwed up. But you know what? The game keeps moving. I also tend to not run max squadrons as often. So like a lot of times, like if you want a quicker squadron game, run 50 points of squadrons. You know, and then all of a sudden your squadron game will be much smaller. You'll still have a squadron presence, but you'll have, it'll be a faster squadron game. Or run no squadrons. That's very viable. And also, if you run no squadrons, even if your opponent runs a lot of squadrons, they will have less measuring to do because they won't have to worry about engagement range of your squadrons. So, like a lot of stuff will become obsolete. They won't have to worry about intel. They won't have to worry about all this other stuff. So, that will also speed up the game. So having more people in your area willing to run no squadrons speeds up the squadron game for everybody. It's fun to try sometimes too because you get more ships on the board. I love running no squadron. All right. So we talked about some of the. I'm going over some of the questions I've already got. So we're getting there. Let's see. Boom TTFN says, do you think Star Trek would make a good X-Wing style game? Well, they made one. I think that some people have already answered that as well. There was an Attack Wing game. I think Star Trek would make a better Armada style game. Star Trek ships don't dogfight like X-Wing ships do. Star Trek ships more do broadside attacks and they angle their shields and they just do a lot more stuff that things in Armada do. So Star Trek would make a perfect... Armada would actually be better for Star Trek than it is for Star Wars. Because then you also wouldn't have as much of a squadron game in Star Trek. Star Trek doesn't really launch fighters. They do a little bit. There's a few episodes where they have some smaller attack craft. But for the most part, Star Trek is capital ship versus capital ship. And that's beautiful. And also, a lot of Star Trek battles don't feature that many. Like, if you look at this, most of these, when I think of an Armada, I think of dozens and dozens of ships, right? Maybe even like 100 ships. And when you play Armada, you're running 3 ships, 4 ships. Well, that is a little bit more appropriate to the types of battles you see in Star Trek. A lot of times you see 1 ship versus 1 ship versus 2 versus 3, or 3 versus 4 or something like that. You see smaller scale battles, which is perfect for Armada. So Armada would be the perfect Star Trek game, in my opinion. Also, Boom TTFN, you actually won one of the last giveaways. I sent your promos out a couple weeks ago, and so it may arrive. I think you were in Australia. I'm not sure, but if you don't get it, I wonder because you didn't give me a name, so I addressed it to Boom TTFN, and I just wonder what the mail system is going to do to a letter that says Boom on it. They may destroy your stuff, so I probably should have not sent it and say, hey, do you want me to put something else on there? I didn't think about it until I was dropping it in the mailbox, and I'm like, I'm dropping a letter in here that says Boom. I wonder if I'm going to get in trouble, So let me know if you ever do get that, because that'll be something. Let's see, is to answering that. Okay. Is it possible to play a really large game in Legion? Well, yeah, they have a Grand Army system that's already spelled out in Legion. What a Grand Army is twice as big game, so it's a 1,600 point game, and that uses a 6x4 board instead of a 6x3. So absolutely, it's possible to do that with Legion. It takes a long time, though. It takes a long time. And that really is the problem with a lot of these games, is they take a long time. And which makes me really happy with what X-Wing is doing for their epic scenarios, is you have the wing tool now. You can move 6 ships at once. You can activate 6 ships at once with the wing tool. That's awesome. And I would like to see more games be able to do something like that. I mean, I could imagine Legion doing something like that, where you have, instead of a unit, Maybe you have an army. Like, these guys are all grouped together. Like, for, like, really epic battles. Maybe Luke Skywalker, when you activate Luke, you also activate, like, these 4 core that are in his subgroup. And then they all move together. And you're activating 4 or 5 units all at the same time. I mean, Legion could potentially do something like that. Armada, maybe not so much. But yeah. Are those black helicopters above my house? Probably not right now. Probably not. Is there going to be a new Rise of Skywalker trailer tonight? I think there's a chance. I've heard 2 things. I've heard tonight. I've also heard next Monday. So be on the lookout for, if it's not tonight, I've heard next Monday. We will see. We will see. Do you think they will make a kill team format for Legion? Yes, something like that. I think they will. And that's something I'm really excited about. Now, with kill team, I think a true kill team format for Legion would be closer to like, all right, I'm going to run Darth Vader and 3 stormtroopers. Each stormtrooper is going to have their own stats. And like, this stormtrooper is TK421, this stormtrooper is TK423, and this stormtrooper is TK456, right? And they each have their own hit points and blah, 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 and they all each attack individually. So I think, like, to do something like Kill Team, you'd be doing each miniature individually. And so somebody buys a Stormtrooper pack, they've got a whole Kill Team army right there. They've got the leader, who is like maybe an elite. You don't have to run Darth Vader, right? But yeah, so something like that. You might run something like that. I totally could see that working. It'd be a great introductory way to start playing Legion. It'd be a different way to use your existing Legion stuff. And that'd be fantastic. I definitely expect something like that. But I'm hoping for, if they do that, I'm hoping for two different ways to do that. I'm also hoping for a heroes-based kill team. And that could be as simple as a higher point limit, where everybody has to use heroic characters, or at least a certain amount of heroic characters. So, basically, I want to be able to take like Vader, the Emperor, and Boba Fett up against Luke, Leia, and Han, or something like that. I want to do something like that. Because with the Imperial bunker that's also coming out this fourth quarter. Like, they made this interior building that's kind of small, has a lot of little computer terminals and things like that in it. And I'm like, that is cool for terrain, but how many, like, units of B-1 battle droids am I going to be able to put in there and move around? Like, I just don't see that realistically happening very much. I'm like, I'm going to move these 8 miniatures into this tiny space so that can barely fit all of them. But if you're moving, 1 or 2 miniatures in there, well, now you've got room to actually make some things happen. And so I really expect that to be announced soon. I have a feeling along the lines of the Imperial Bunker's release, we will see some new format for Legion officially announced. That's my guess. And that's really just a guess. That's something, I should say that's more of my wish list. Yeah. So yeah, somebody's like, yeah, it's not really Star Wars without fighter squadrons alongside capital ships. I get that. I just wish they were done in a different way, because the way that they're implemented takes a long time. There have been some people say that what if the squadrons were touching, they had to be touching to be engaged. Like, that was range 1, was actually touching. Like, that would make things a lot simpler. Either it's touching or it's not, so there's nothing to measure. Right, like that would speed up the game, and that would also be more thematic, because like as far away as some of these squadrons can be, and still shooting each other, it's like you're really, So if they're closer together, it feels like if they're touching, it feels more like a dogfight maybe. That would speed things up, but I'm not sure what other gameplay implications that might have. But alternatively, we've got. I've suggested how about use different dice, like to say, if I were redesigning Armada from the ground up, like if I were doing a 2.0, I would keep the same kind of bases, right? You got your Imperial Star Destroyer on a base, but in the 4 corners of the acrylic base, I'd have a little hole, and you can stick your squadrons in those four corners of the bases. Okay, so in each one of those represent. So basically, a squadron is like an upgrade card you can play. So maybe an Imperial Star Destroyer, because they carry a lot of TIE fighters. That one can be equipped with up to 4 squadrons of TIE fighters. And you physically put them in there. So you physically have them on the board flying around with your ship. They're not going to go too far from the ship, so the fact that they're affixed to the base gives you, A, the visual that this is how many TIE fighters I have. As they become defeated, you can pull them off, so you're also going to get a visual indication of how many are left. But instead of moving them around, you'll roll a different color of dice. We'll say green dice would be squadron dice. So I would roll green dice for my squadron attacks, and they would have multiple different symbols on them. We may have to add a different type of symbol for like a special in case some of the squadrons have some kind of special abilities. So you might have like hit, crit, I don't know, special, blank, inaccuracy, or something like that. But yeah, so we would have stuff like that, and you would, the more squadrons you have, the more dice you would roll, and and things kind of along those lines. So that's kind of how I would do it. You would still get your squadron minis on the board. It would take much less time because squadrons all would have a certain range. Like short range fighters would have only range 1. Maybe some longer range fighters, could attack, up to range 2. Like if you think about Kylo Ren and his in The Last Jedi, he could only go out so far and then he had to come back or whatever. So maybe a TIE SF or I'm going to use sequel trilogy stuff right now, but maybe the Silencer could attack out to range 5, but then he had to come back. Whereas a TIE fighter, a short range fighter, could only attack out to range 1. All right. But the good news is that they are also, while they're on your ship, they also count as they can defend. So any other squadrons that come in have to deal with your squadrons first, and only once your escort is defeated can you then be bombed directly by X-Wings or something like that. That's kind of my thought process. Yeah, all right, we'll take a few more, and then I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. So Star Wars Newsnet says 10:21 for the trailer. I've heard that as well. Well, we shall see. I will be looking for it tonight, and if it does, I'll do a video. Depending on when it airs too. If it airs early enough, like before the kids go to bed, then maybe I'll do a reaction video with the kids, because like a lot of people do like these whole reactions and they watch and they're like and I kind of don't like those as much because I doubt the sincerity of a lot of them. But I mean, I've done them before too, and I think it would be more fun if I had the kids watching too. I think getting all the kids together would be a fun thing to do. So I might try that. Yep. All right. Let's see. We got anything else? Yeah, we've seen a lot of stuff about it being Monday Night Football. I'm not sure if it's going to be, tonight or next week. I had heard from a couple of sources now that it's next week, but a lot of those sources may have all gotten their information from the same place. All right, well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will talk to you all later, and I got some interesting stuff coming up this week. I got some Kickstarter videos coming out. Got an interesting game coming out till I think next week. I have a video coming out later this week for, and then I think Simon has got Zombicide Season 2, which looks kind of interesting. And I have some thoughts about that. I need to kind of put those together because I'm on the fence with that one. All right, well, I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I will talk to you very, very soon, and thank you for hanging out. And happy anniversary to my lovely wife of 12 years again, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.